Leaving the pre-dawn light, I made my way over to Coffs Harbour, filled up with fuel, and then hit the road just as the sun was coming up. Next stop was to find somewhere for breakfast, and that was at Bonville. Waterfall Way was closed between Bellingen and Thora, but I knew that I could get through on a back way through Gleniffer and up along Somersville Road. Today's ride would be approximately 640 kilometres, travelling from Woolgoolga to Wellington. I was attending the New South Wales CMA AGM as I'm moving from Queensland down to New South Wales, and I've transferred my membership there. As I mentioned earlier, Waterfall Way being closed, this back road was being used by a lot of locals for their commute. Much more heavy traffic than what would normally be seen on this road, but thankfully the councillors keep it in good nick with plenty of roadworks being made to keep it well maintained. This detour is about 5 kilometres shorter than the normal road, but adds about 10 to 15 minutes to the trip. Finally, I was onto Waterfall Way and made my way up the range to Dorrigo. Leaving Dorrigo, I was rather surprised to see some fog, given that this was the end of summer coming into the last weekend of February. Little was I to know there was worse to come. This was far and away the heaviest fog I have ever ridden through. It got so hard to see. The road signs, you could barely make them out as you came up beside them on the side of the road. I even resorted to putting my hazard lights on to try and make myself visible to any other potential traffic out there. By Ebor, the fog had lifted, and a fine day was starting to develop. I saw some warning signs there was droving ahead, and as I crested a rise, the road was completely blocked by all of these cattle. Having got through all of these ones, I thought I was done, but no, there was still another group a little bit further down the road. Arriving in Armidale, my navigation decided to reroute me away from the city centre. After Armidale was Uralla, where I stopped for a short break. Back on the road, and not before too long I was heading down the Moonbi Range on my way to Tamworth. I stopped in Tamworth for fuel and a quick bite to eat, and then I was back onto the road into uncharted territory for me and made my way across to Werris Creek. Just before entering Werris Creek itself, the road turns right and makes my way across to Corunna, which would be my lunch stop. Not far out of Werris Creek was this nice little set of bins. Arriving in Corunna, a small village with less than 200 inhabitants. On this section of road I saw a large mob of emu blocking the road, and when they saw me coming they all darted off out into the bush, and I kept my eyes peeled because you just never know where those stupid birds are going to go. After leaving Corunna, the next sizable town that I came upon was Coolah, of about 1,300 people living there. On the outskirts of Coolah, just before the highway goes back to 100 k's, was a small park, and I took the opportunity to stop, get off the bike for a little bit and have a drink. Once again, I came across some cattle in the long paddock, but not quite as many in numbers, and they were staying pretty much off the road, so I didn't have to completely stop, just slow down to pass them safely. The next town I passed through was Dunedoo. Has a population a little over 1,000. I was glad to see the sign I was coming into Wellington, as about 5 kilometres prior the bike went on to reserve. Happy to see the Shell sign in the distance, I pulled in to top up with fuel for the weekend. After refuelling, it was a short run over the Macquarie River to my motel where I was staying for the weekend, before then heading down to the Baptist Church to catch up with everybody else. The original Baptist Church building was built in 1905, but sadly it is no longer in current use, and services are conducted in a more recent building adjacent. Not only was this the AGM, but this was also a fellowship and teaching weekend, and Barry Day, our national coordinator, he ran the teaching sessions. On the Saturday, we also did a group ride out to Burrendong Dam and then up to Ridgecrest campsite, where we're going to be hosting the National Run later in the year. Burrendong Dam is about a half-hour ride from Wellington. The dam wall is 76 metres high and it goes for 1.1 kilometres across. The volume of the dam is 1,188,000 megalitres and it's built for flood mitigation, irrigation and water supply. The catchment area is 13,886 square kilometres, so it's quite a huge area. The building of the dam started in 1958 and then it was completed in 1967. In 1996, a hydroelectric station was also added to the dam. Leaving the dam overlook, we made our way up to Ridgecrest campsite not far away and taking care because the road had just been resurfaced and there's a lot of loose stones on top and it rises quite steeply. It's 200 metres elevation change from the dam wall up to the camp. After having met the staff and had a tour of the facility, it was time to head back to Wellington for lunch at the Four Cats Cafe. Sunday morning, and off I go to Macca's for some breakfast before church. While I was having my breakfast, this really cool old Chevy 3100 rolled into the car park. A number of us parked our bikes out the front of the church, and then after the service we had a lovely morning tea with the locals, and then it was time to hit the road, start heading home. I pulled into the servo at Dunedoo to top up with fuel and also to grab some lunch to have something along the way a bit later on. Pulled into the showground at Spring Ridge to have my lunch. Spring Ridge is a really small place, only 266 inhabitants at the last census. There were a number of sections where they were doing some roadworks, and this would be the only dirt that would go under my wheels for this particular trip. Overnight was in Tamworth, and then a very early start the next morning at the first light. Being the end of summer, I didn't think to put any warm liners in, and I was quite surprised to find when I took off this morning it was at 14 degrees and didn't get up above 14 degrees all the way through to Dorrigo. Breakfast was in Uralla at the Alternate Route Cafe, and it was a great place, really funky, and like pressed metal ceilings and everything. Just a great place and great food. My next stop was just a quick one at the Ebor Falls. Leaving Ebor, my next stop was Dorrigo, where I would top up with fuel. After refuelling in Dorrigo, it was time to head down the range. And at the bottom of the range it was a left into Somersville's Road. While riding along the detour, the batteries in the cameras gave up the ghost, and that was the end of a great weekend away.